Hello everybody. Today we're going to be working in a grammar book. We are going to continue our lessons. This is actually the last lesson for present perfect tense. And today you will be introduced to present perfect progressive tense. And you are going to learn what the difference is between the present perfect progressive tense and the present perfect tense. And you'll learn how to use it and when to use it. Okay. So that lesson begins on page 156. However, on page 156 and 157, you have the usual story with questions that follow. Again, we're not going to do this here. You don't have to do it, but I would suggest that if you have time, you do go over and read the story and answer the questions after you listen to the lesson, because it will probably help you understand more of how we use it and when we use it. And if you do that and you would like to have answers to those questions, please let me know and I'll make sure that you get them, okay? But for today, we're going to start on page 159. So let me share the screen with you right now. But of course, please have your own books because this is not always clear, okay? Okay, here it is. So on page 159, this is the grammar presentation that shows you how to form the present progressive tense, okay? And that is going to tell us the difference later on. So as you know, when you form the present perfect tense, you use the subject plus have or has, depending on the subject. Remember that the third person singular always uses has. That would be he, she, it, but everything else uses have. And then you use the past participle of the verb. You already learned all that. You did chapters 8, 9, and 10 with Professor Colleen, and then you did 11 with me, and now you're doing 12 with me. So with present perfect progressive tense, it is different, okay? We form it like this. Again, it's the subject plus have or has, depending on the person. But then after the have or has, you're going to add the word been. You always add the word been, and it doesn't matter what the subject is. And that is followed by the main verb with ing at the end, okay? So now we have I have been working since 2009. You have been working since 2009. We have been working for years, etc. You can read this on your own. And you'll notice here again with he, she, and it, we use has instead. He has been working since 2009. She has been working for years. If you want to make this negative, you just add the word not after the have or has. I have not been working since 2009. You can make this a contraction. I haven't been working since 2009. He has not been working for years. Again, you can make this a contraction. He hasn't been working for years. Now, in the book, very often, as a matter of fact, most of the time, they make contractions out of the subject and the word have or the word has, so that they would say, I've been working or I've not been working. I would prefer you not to do that, okay? If you want to make a contraction with have not, haven't, or has not, hasn't, that is okay. All right. In yes, no questions, now these are questions where the answer is going to be either yes or no. So in yes, no questions, you're going to begin with the have or the has, depending on the person, followed by the subject, have you, and then the word been, and then the verb with ing. Have you been working since 2009? Has she been working for years? In response to that, if you use a short answer, so a short answer is going to be yes plus the subject plus have or has, right? Yes, I have. Yes, we have. Yes, she has. Yes, he has, etc. And in a negative here, they do have this here, this contraction for haven't, for have not, or has not, and that's fine. No, I haven't. No, she hasn't. Getting hasn't or haven't, depending on the subject, okay? If you were to say, no, I have not, no, she has not, that is also correct. Now, these are questions with a W, these are the WH questions. So these are the questions that begin with a question word. And as you know, the WH questions are why, who, when, where, I'm probably missing one, and how. We also include how, even though it does not begin with WH. Many of these questions will be how long, how much, how many. So here's one question that is beginning with how long. And of course, that goes first. And then the pattern is the same. The rest of this is the same as it is with a yes/no question. You'll see these are the same. Okay. How long have you been working? Or how long has she been working? Or how long have they been working? Etc. All right. Let's look at the difference between the present perfect progressive and the present perfect tense. Look at the first one. Present perfect progressive. They have been living. Say you see the been, you see the ing. They have been living here for many years. In present perfect, we would say they have lived here for many years. Now, these two, even though one is present perfect progressive and one is present perfect, these two actually mean the same thing. In a few minutes, you're going to learn that sometimes in this situation, it means that this is just temporary, okay? But don't worry about that for now. That's only when you add something to the sentence. You'll see that a little bit later on when we come across this. But normally, have been living, have been teaching, have been working. It would be the same as have lived, have taught, have worked. There really isn't much difference there. But the rest of these, there are differences. Present perfect progressive. I have been reading this book since Monday. So this means that I started to read the book on Monday and I am still reading the book. It's a continuation. I am still reading the book. However, this is similar about reading books, but this is present perfect tense. I have read 2 books about solar energy. In this case, I have already read this book. I'm finished reading the books, okay? And the reason we're using present perfect tense and not simple past is because this is present perfect with an indefinite time, which you have already learned. This is when you don't say when. We can't say, I read 2 books about the solar energy. That is simple past because you need to add a time word. You can say, I read 2 books about solar energy last month, for example. But time words are not here, so we have to use present perfect tense. But you can see that there is a difference in meaning between these two. And the same thing here, present perfect progressive. Dr. Owen has been writing articles since 2000. So this means that Dr. Owen started writing articles in 2000, but she is still writing articles. Present perfect tense, we have Dr. Owen has written many articles. Again, there's no time word, so we can't use simple past tense. This is present perfect tense in an indefinite time. Now, this does not necessarily mean that Dr. Owen will not write any more articles in her life. It's possible that she will. Okay, but at that point, these are talking about articles that she has already written. While this is talking about articles that she has written in the past and is still writing. Different articles, but she's still writing articles here for sure. All right, go down to this one. She has been working in Kenya for a year, means that she started to work in Kenya 1 year ago and she is still working in Kenya. Here we are at present perfect. She has worked in many countries. This is talking about something that happened in the past, but because there are no time words, again, we can't use simple past tense, so we have to use present perfect tense. And like this one, it does not mean that she will never work in another country again. It just means that she has in the past, okay, and she is not right now. All right, hopefully you understood that. So let's go on to the next page. This is page 160, and here we're going to learn the differences between present perfect progressive and present perfect. And when we use these, and actually the grammar lesson I just taught you, I already explained all that. But now here it is in your book. This is a great place for you to study, okay? All right, so the first one tells you that the present perfect progressive and the present perfect usually have different meanings, and I explain that to you and how they work. It says use the present perfect progressive to show that something is unfinished. It's not finished yet. It started in the past and is still continuing. The focus is on the continuation of the action. Here we go. Here's an example. I have been writing a book about solar energy. This person is, I've been reading a book about solar energy. This person has not finished reading the book. He or she is still reading the book. And so this would be unfinished, an unfinished action. Let's look at the next one. She has been writing an article. Again, because this is in the present perfect progressive, this person is still writing the article. It is, again, an unfinished action. Now, present perfect progressive, that's what we just talked about. Let's look at the present perfect. Use the present perfect to show that something is finished. It happened at an indefinite time in the past, meaning that no time words were used. The focus is on the result, the end result of the action. Examples. I have read a book about solar energy. The book is finished. I finished the book. I'm not reading it anymore. Again, because there are no time words here, we have to use present perfect tense and not simple past. Here's another one. She's written an article. We don't know when she wrote the article because there are no time words, but she did finish writing the article. Okay? Tells you down here, please note, we also use the present perfect progressive for finished actions that ended in the very recent past. You can often still see the results of the action. What does that mean? Let's look at the example. Look, the streets are wet. It's been raining. If the streets are still wet, it means it stopped raining very, very recently. This could also mean that it is still raining, okay? But we can use this both ways. And it tells you to be careful. We usually do not use non-action verbs such as be, is, are, was, were, have, or has, and know in the progressive. She has had the same job since 2000. This is present perfect tense. We do not use this word with present progressive. So to say she has been having the same job since 2000 would be incorrect. Okay. Let's go down to here. With time expressions, quantifiers, and numbers. Numbers, of course, tell you how many. Quantifiers tell you how much. It tells you to use the present perfect progressive with the word for plus time expression to show how long something has been happening. So let's look at the example. I have been reading books about wind energy for 2 months. I started reading books about wind energy 2 months ago, and I am still reading these books. And it tells you for how long here, for 2 months. Then it tells you to use the present perfect with a quantifier, a word that shows how much, or a number, a word that shows you how many, to show how much someone has done. For example, I have read a lot about it. A lot, this is the quantifier, tells you how much. Just means a lot. Doesn't tell you, 3 books or 4 books, but a lot is a quantifier. It tells you how much. We use it to show how many things someone has done. She has written 3 articles. Okay, we have 3 for the number. And it shows how many times someone has done something. I have read that book twice. Twice, as you know, means 2 times. Okay. Tells you to be careful, do not use the present perfect with a specific time in the past. The only exception is with the word since. So you know that with a specific time in the past, we're going to use simple past tense. But it says the only exception is with since. She has read 3 articles. There is no time here. So we're using the present perfect tense. We cannot say she has read 3 articles last week, because this is giving us time word. And in this case, we would have to use simple past tense. We would have to say she read 3 articles last week. Here's the exception they were talking about. She has read 3 articles since last week. So she started reading articles last week, and so far she has read 3, and she may read more. Okay, let's go to the next page. I think there's one left. Here we go. It says using this tense with verbs of duration, which means with for or since. And here it tells you that with verbs that show duration, that means how long something has been happening for. With words that show duration, such as live, study, teach, and work, I mentioned this to you before, you can use the present perfect progressive or the present perfect with for or since. The meaning is the same thing. Something is unfinished. In present perfect progressive, we can say he has been studying global warming for 10 years. Here we're using present perfect progressive. He started to study global warming 10 years ago, and he is still studying it. Or he has studied global warming for 10 years. And this also means he is still studying, because we're using present perfect tense, okay? If we were to use a simple past tense here and say he studied global warming for 10 years, that means he no longer is studying global warming, okay? Then it tells you in a usage note, we often use the present perfect progressive to show that something is temporary. I had mentioned this to you before. So look at this example. They've been living here since 1995, but they are moving next month. Now, in this example, they're using the present progressive tense, and they are telling you that they are moving next month. So by telling you that, we know that this is temporary. If they had stopped at this sentence here, they've been living here since 1995, that does not mean temporary. Look at this usage note. We often use the present perfect to show that something is permanent. They have lived here since they were children, and they're not planning on moving. And this also explains that this is a permanent situation by telling you that they're not planning on moving. If you took these without the second part of the sentence, I already told you about this one, they've been living here since 1995, period, or they've lived here since they were children, period, they basically mean the same, that this is how long they've lived in that place, and that's it. Okay. If you need a list of non-action verbs, you can go to Appendix 2 on page 454. These things we already studied, okay? You studied using present perfect with since and for in Unit 8. We studied present perfect for the indefinite past in Unit 10, and we studied present perfect and simple past in Unit 11. All right, so that's the actual lesson on the present perfect progressive tense. Let's look at the exercises. I'm going to give you a lot of exercises to do for homework, but let's go to the next page. I want to make sure you understand the exercises, okay? The first one on page 162, you're going to read the sentence. The sentence is going to be written in either present perfect progressive tense or present perfect tense. So after reading the sentence, you're going to decide if it's a finished action or an unfinished action. Let's do a couple. This is done for you. I had been reading a book about global warming. Present perfect progressive tense, because you see the word been and you see the ing at the end of the verb. Remember, if it's present perfect progressive, if it has that ing there, this is going to be an unfinished action. Let's look at the next one. I've read a book about global warming. Present perfect tense. No been, no ing. This is a finished action. This, I have already read the book, it's done. So this is finished, okay? One more. She's written 2 magazine articles about air pollution. She has written. No been, no ing, this is present perfect tense. There are no time words here, so we could not use simple past. So this is present perfect tense used to talk about something that happened at an indefinite time, but she is finished with these articles. Okay, so you check this. Please do number 4 through number 10 for homework. Okay, let's look at the next exercise. The next exercise is present perfect progressive or present perfect. So here you have to choose the one that belongs in a sentence. It says complete the statements about an expert on climate change, Professor Jane Owen, and her work. Circle the correct words. Sometimes both answers are correct. All right, first one's done for you. Green Earth magazine has been publishing or has published Professor Owen's 3rd annual report on environmental trends. It's an excellent report. Okay, we had to choose has published, present perfect tense, because this article has already appeared in the Green Earth magazine. They're not in the middle of publishing it. It's already done. So we had to put has published. Let's try number 2 together. Professor Owen is working on 2 articles for the next issue of Green Earth magazine. She has been writing these articles since Monday, or she has written these articles since Monday. Over here it says that she is working on the 2 articles. She's now in the middle of working on the 2 articles. So the answer would be has been writing. Okay? If it said has been writing, I'm sorry, these articles since Monday. Please do numbers 3 through number 10 in your book, okay, for homework. Let's go to the next page. Okay, the next page, present perfect progressive. Now here you don't have to choose between present perfect progressive or present perfect tense. What you're going to do is you're going to look at these 2 pictures and you're going to use the pictures as clues. And here it tells you that you have to look at the 2 pictures of Professor Owen. Complete the sentences describing what has been happening, present perfect progressive. Use the present perfect progressive form of the verbs in parentheses, choose between affirmative and negative. So in this case, you're deciding if the present perfect progressive should be negative or not by comparing the 2 pictures. For example, you see that this was at 8 o'clock and you see that this was an hour later at 9 o'clock. And in this picture, the first picture, you see that there is a coffee pot filled with coffee. But in the second picture, the coffee pot is almost empty. So she has, she's been drinking a lot of coffee, okay? That's one clue. And look at the other clues. She has a pile of papers here, quite a lot. And she has so much more here. That's really way too many to, that it would have taken a lot more than an hour to make that many papers. And here she has a sandwich, uneaten, and here she still has a sandwich that is uneaten. So look at the pictures, okay? The first one has been done for you. They use contractions. She's been working. I want you to not use the contractions there. So you would say she has been working. She has been working in her office. The word is work. So each line has a basic formative verb. You're going to add ing, but you're also going to have to add not, or just not add the not. It's either going to be negative or not negative. But this one, she has been working in her office. She has been working in her office. It's true. She's still here an hour later. Look at the next one. She write a book. We really have no way to be sure about that, but if I had a guess, because of how many papers she has here, and they're filled with words, and here she has more papers filled with words, I'm going to guess that she has been writing a book. Okay, so you do the rest of these down, number 3 to number 10. You can do these right in your book. Okay, let's go to the next page. Okay. All right, now, next page. These are all statements. You don't have to worry about any kind of questions, all statements. It says, complete Professor Owen's blog about the European Solar Decathlon, a competition for the best solar homes. These are homes that get all their energy from the sun. Use the present perfect progressive or the present perfect form of the verbs in parentheses. Sometimes both forms are possible, but in most cases, remember that if something is unfinished, you're going to use present perfect progressive. And if it is finished, you're going to use present perfect, but sometimes both forms are possible. We talked about that. So again, you have the verb under each blank, and you have to use this verb in either the present perfect progressive form or the present perfect form. This starts with June 28th, 2014 in Versailles, France. A beautiful solar village has appeared on the grounds of the Versailles Palace. 20, they used present perfect tense here. Okay, you can't say has been appearing. Uh-oh. Okay, let me just get out of this. Hopefully it's still, oh, now I lost my battery power here. Okay, just give me a second. 20 teams for universities in Europe, Asia, and North and South America have brought these houses here for an international competition of solar houses. We're going to use present perfect here because this is finished. The houses are already here. Okay, so you do the rest of these, please. You're doing number 3 to number 12 down here. Remember when you see be, that's the to be verb, right, is are. Okay. Let's go to the next one. I don't know if there's another one for you to do. Here's another one. I think this is the last one you're going to do in this chapter. This is exercise 5. Here we have questions and answers. In this one, you're going to be writing questions and you're going to be writing the answers. It says, Professor Owen is interviewing one of the student designers at Solar Decathlon Europe. Use the words in parentheses to write Professor Owen's questions. Use her notes, these are her notes here, to complete the student's answers. Choose between the present perfect progressive and the present perfect. Don't use contractions. I'd rather you not use contractions unless you're just using it with the negative, like hasn't or haven't. That's okay. So over here, these are notes that will help you answer the questions from the student. And it starts with the exercise. Each one of these begins with the question from Professor Owen to the student. Now, these words are all in order. You do not have to change these words around, but you have to add the words you need to make the question either present progressive or present perfect. So looking at these words, how long your team work on this project? The project is not finished yet. So we're going to use present perfect progressive. How long has your team been working on this project? I want you to look at team. Team is more than one person, yes, but they're using has. This is considered third person singular because it's only one team. Okay, so that's why we say has. So the answer here, this was the question, how long has your team been working on this project? If you look up here, it says started project 2 years ago. So the answer is we have been working on this project for 2 years. Present perfect progressive tense because they are still working on it. Most of the time, if the question is in present perfect progressive, the answer will be in present perfect progressive. If the question is in present perfect, the answer will be in present perfect. Let's look at the second one. How much money did the team spend on the house? Okay, so let's look here. Here is the cost, $250,000. Okay. So this is the money they have already spent. So we're going to say, how much money, present perfect tense, how much money has the team spent on the house? And the student says, we have spent $250,000. We have spent. I didn't say it, meaning the team. I said we, because the student is part of the team. See in this question, how long has your team? The student is part of the team. And that's why he answered with we. If you need help for the past participles for present perfect tense, please look at the back of the book. Okay, so finish this. This is number 3 to number 8. All right, another one. This is editing. A lot of you don't like editing, especially Nubia. Nubia does not like editing. She told me that that was the thing that she just does not do well on. But here we have an email. Excuse me. It says there are 8 mistakes in the use of the present perfect progressive and the present perfect. The first mistake is already corrected. Find and correct 7 more. The first one is done for you. Look for 7 more, cross out the mistake, and write the correction. Hi, guys. Sorry I haven't written sooner. Sorry I haven't wrote sooner is wrong. We can't use simple past tense here when we have this word haven't. So sorry I haven't written sooner. Okay, you go ahead and do the rest of this for homework. Now, after that, we have a listening, so we don't have to do any of this. But the last thing I do want you to do is Unit 12 review. The answers to this, after you do this, check your own answers. The answers are on page 477, but of course, do it first. We're not going to check this together. I'm not going to have the answers for you on the computer together because the answers are in your book on page 477, okay? And the directions here should be clear. In the first one, you're just going to circle the correct words to complete the sentences. You're going to choose between present perfect progressive tense and present perfect tense. In the second one, you're going to complete the conversation with the present perfect progressive or present perfect form of the verbs in parentheses. Don't worry about using contractions, please. So the lines have words under them. Now, some don't, like this one, and the reason for that is because these are questions. So you're going to have either have or has, okay, in this part of the question. How long have, because it's you, how long have you lived in Dallas, for example? And in the last part, there are 5 mistakes. So just look for the mistakes, cross them out and fix them, okay? And then check your answers on page 477. I will be posting the answers to all these exercises next week. And so we won't be going over them. We're just, just look at the answers and see what you got wrong. If you got something wrong and you don't understand why you got it wrong, then you need to ask me, okay? All right, let me get out of this. So I was supposed to make this recording yesterday, and actually I did make this recording yesterday, but what I didn't realize is that by accident I had clicked on a button that said stop recording, and I didn't realize it, so it didn't record. So I'm doing it again now for you. Now next week, probably on Wednesday, I'm going to have a live Zoom meeting with you. So after I arrange that, I believe that there's a number I have to give you, and then you're going to go on Zoom. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, know how to do that. And you're going to meet me at the time that I say. Somebody suggested that I should do it during the regular class time, so maybe Wednesday at 1 o'clock, but I will let you know for sure. Please check your email. You can check your email from me about our classes right on Zoom. Also, I want to mention that I had made a video showing you how to correct a mistake that was made when you had to register the inside access code to your grammar book I gave you a course ID, and I told you it was very important that you put that in, or I won't see any of your work. You are going to be taking your grammar tests on that site. The problem is that somebody had sent me the wrong course ID, and the course ID I gave you was the wrong one. So in the video, I tell you how to fix that, and I give you the correct course ID. Out of 15 students, only 2 students have fixed it. You have to. We'll be taking a test on present perfect tense, not next week, but the week after that. Okay, and I will have another live session where I will review with you. But if you don't fix that, and I can't see your name and I can't see your work, I won't be able to see your test, and you will not get credit. I do not want you to fail this course for that reason, okay? So please make sure that you fix that. Watch that video. You'll see where it has the module for April 6 and 8. You'll see a video that says mistake in all capital letters. You need to watch all of these videos, of course, but I just really need you to fix that and put the correct access code in. That video will tell you how to do it. Okay, everybody, I know that there is a lot of work. I know you have other classes and you have a lot of work, but you're home. At least you should be home, right? You shouldn't be going anywhere. I hope you're all okay. And that's it for now. Okay, I'll make more videos next week. Again, please check your email, because this is your college email. Please check the college email. You can see it on Canvas, because I'm going to make the announcement as to when, what day, what time I'm going to have the live meeting with you. You can make a list of questions if you want, and I will answer your questions for you. But that's very, very important. I want as many of you there as possible. Okay. And what's cool is you can see each other on Zoom. You'll see everybody's face. Isn't that nice? Because I miss you guys, and you know, I don't know if you miss classes or not, but I do miss you guys. Okay. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye for now.